So I can just sit here and spam and he'll never get to me. Wait, hold on. Where did he go? Oh my God. All right, let's get into it. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I have a great Necromancer build here for you. I'm super excited to bring it to you. I'm going to go right into the weapons, the armor, talismans, summons, your flask, everything you're going to need to make this build hit super hard and be able to survive in New Game Plus. So with that being said, I am going to have a breakdown of all the different level caps, 50, 100, and 150 at the end of the video. I currently am level 290. I'm in New Game Plus 6, so that is why some of my stats are going to be a little bit inflated, but I will break all that down for you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, let's get right into the video, starting out with the weapons. The first weapon we're going to be using is the Halfin Steeple. This is a really cool weapon. I like it a lot. It has intellect, strength, attributes, and scaling, which is exactly the type of build we're using, is intellect and strength. I like this type of build a lot. It allows you to hit really hard, but also get your sorceries to hit hard as well. So we're using the Halfin Steeple. We have a physical damage of 232 plus 137 and a magic damage of 232 plus 190. So definitely hits really hard. The Ash of War Ruinous Ghost Flame is pretty good. It's a weapon buff that allows you to hit with some magic fire damage. Also, it goes along with the aesthetic of Ghost Flame that we're using a lot inside of this build. Now, moving on to the next weapon. I had never used this weapon before in my life, but I had started using it for this build and I absolutely love it. This is the Death Ritual Spear. It's going to have a physical attack of 228 plus 142 and a magic attack of 147 plus 72, which is pretty good considering it's a spear and it's a pierce weapon. But where this weapon really shines is its Ash of War Spear Call Ritual. What happens with this Ash of War is you thrust your spear up into the air and it calls down a bunch of different bolts of Ghost Flame that land on the enemy and do area of effect damage. I really love this, especially if you're hiding behind your summons, which we'll get into at the end of the video, and you can really stay alive the whole time and just call down Spear Call Ritual on your enemies and really do a lot of damage. With intellect scaling of D, strength scaling of D, and a dex scaling of B, this weapon is still going to hit decently hard, even though we don't have a lot of dex with this build, but you are going to have that intellect and strength there to help you out. Now, moving on to our staff. The Prince of Death staff at plus 24. This is going to have a sorcery scaling of 312, which is not crazy, but it does have an intellect scaling of A and a strength scaling of D, and this is going to boost your death sorceries. Now, we are using pretty much exclusively death sorceries because we are a necromancer with this build, so the staff is going to boost your death sorcery by 10%, which is a nice little damage boost on top of all the different talismans that we're going to be using to get even more magic damage out of our sorceries. So this staff is a really good pair up with the sorceries that we're going to be using for this build. Now, moving on to the armor. I've had a lot of people ask me what this helmet is in all of my YouTube shorts. This is the Eccentric's Hood. You can get this from Witch Hunter Jaren after you defeat Radahn. He will give you this item. All you have to do is alter it at a site of grace, and you will get it without the hood, which I think it looks way better without the hood. So the headpiece is the Eccentric's Hood. Then we have the Preceptor's Gown, which is going to give us that nice long black cloak that we're looking for. We're also going to be using the Preceptor's Glove to match the black color. And last but not least, we're using the Knight Cavalry Greaves just to give us a tiny more bit of poise and some more armor, because we are wearing some cloth pieces here rather than some big bulky metal pieces, so you do want that little bit extra armor when you're using this build in case you do draw aggro. Moving on into our talismans, the first talisman we're going to be using is the Godfrey Icon. This is going to enhance your charge, spells, and skills. So any sorcery, any skill that we have, Ash of War, that is chargeable, this is going to enhance that by 15%. So that's a really nice damage boost that we're going to get from a lot of our charge spells, and considering a few of our sorceries are chargeable, this is going to work out really well for us. Moving on to our Graven School talisman in slot number 2. This is going to raise the potency of your incantations by 4%, which is another nice little damage boost we're going to get. And the reason that we're using this is because it stacks with our next talisman in slot number 3, which is going to be the Graven Mass talisman. And this talisman is going to boost your sorceries by 8%. So on top of the 4% you're already getting, you're going to have a total boost in sorceries of 12%, which is really nice. And then our final talisman, the Magic Scorpion Charm, which is going to raise our magic attack power but lowers our damage negation, is going to raise our magic damage by 12%, which is super awesome. So this is a 24% raise in our magic damage with all of our talismans. And then we're also going to be increasing the damage that we take by 10%. Definitely more of a glass cannon build here, but when you do hit your enemies, you're going to hit them super hard and take them down really fast. And finally, our Flask of Wondrous Physic. This is going to be really important, especially with your boss fights. We're going to be using the Magic Shrouding Cracked Tier, which is going to temporarily boost your magic attacks, and it's going to boost them by a 20% damage increase. So we are going to be pouring out magic damage with this build. I absolutely love fighting bosses with this build because you can just sit back and melt them to the ground with a bunch of our sorceries. It's going to be so much fun for you guys. I cannot wait for you guys to try this. And then our second portion of our flask is going going to be the Cerulean Hidden tier, and this is going to eliminate all FP consumption when you drink your flask. You will have a 15-second window for this buff to last, so make sure you use it at an optimal time and try to melt your bosses or your NPCs as fast as humanly possible once you got into the encounter. Let's take a look at our sorceries real quick. The first one we're going to be using is Tibia's Summons. This is going to summon 3 skeletal warriors after you charge it for just a little bit that are going to attack your target really quick, and then they're going to fade away. This is a really cool opening sorcery to use. I find that when spec'd correctly, which I feel like I do have in this build, it will do a decent amount of damage for you, and it also looks really great with the Necromancer build. Our next spell is Ancient Death Rancor. This is going to shoot out a bunch of vengeful spirits that are going to chase down your foe. So it is going to seek your enemies out, so it's really cool for PvE and for PvP if you want to use it for there as well. And each skull does a significant amount of damage, so you can sit there and cast over and over and over again. This spell is very, very spammable, and they will constantly hone in on your enemy. They will do a great deal of damage to bosses. I like this a lot. Definitely use this spell. And for our next spell, one of my personal favorites because I think it looks awesome and it does a really, really good amount of damage. This is going to be Explosive Ghost Flame, and it's going to cause a Ghost Flame explosion that is going to burn a wide area and do damage over time to those who are stuck in the flames. This is a great spell. It's a little bit situational, but it does really, really well when you're surrounded by mobs, and also can do some really decent damage to bosses as well if your summon has the aggro. Our fourth spell is going to be Rykard's Rancor. This is going to cause a flaming skull to shoot out and then a trail of flame to explode after the skull. It's a very interesting spell. It does go well with our Necromancer build, and it does a good amount of damage as well. And last but certainly not least, you know that I'm never going to leave you guys without some summons. So here we go. The first summon is Banished Knight Oleg. This summon is an absolute tank, and considering that this build is a glass cannon build and you really don't want to get hit too much, Oleg is going to be able to keep the aggro off you while pumping out damage to help you in boss fights. I absolutely love this guy. He is one of my favorite summons in the entire game, so I highly recommend that you check him out. And the next summon that I'm going to recommend for you guys is going to be the Great Shield Soldier Ashes. This is going to summon 5 Great Shield Soldier Spirits, and they take the most aggro in the entire game. I would put them up against the Dung Eater summon for being absolutely amazing. They can sit there, draw aggro for you the entire time. You can sit back and cast and never take aggro from a boss because these guys do such a good job with it. So definitely check these guys out if you can. And finally, our third and more of an RP type of summon, the Skeletal Bandit Ashes. Now, there's only one reason and one reason only to use this guy, and that is when he dies, he comes back to life. And that is the main RP of the Necromancer, is bringing corpses back to life. Other than that, he's really not great. He can keep aggro a little bit. As you see in this footage, my spells are pretty much staggering the boss the entire time, allowing him to hit the boss. So not the best summon in the world, but RP wise, definitely one you want to check out. So guys, that's going to be it for the video. I will leave on the screen right now the breakdown of the levels from 50, 100, and 150 if you want to level up with this build, or if you want to try to play this build at meta. Highly recommend it. It is a ton of fun. If you guys have not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that bell notification, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. I appreciate it a lot. I think we're almost at 4,000 subscribers in 3.5 months, which is absolutely insane. So thank you guys a ton for that. Looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say down in the comments about this build. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.